Just when I thought When the Phone Rings could recover from episode 11, the finale said, Hold my phone. What an absurdity did I just watch? Let's unpack this poorly executed finale. And I might be being a little bit dramatic, but listen, yeah, it just wasn't hitting for me. The writers could have done so much better. So let's go. Greetings and welcome back to my channel. You're here with Chiameka. If you haven't finished watching When the Phone Rings, save this video and then come back to it because I will be including spoilers. And as for this video, I will be sharing my writer's perspective on the last segment of the story's arc. I do have my notes because my writing just articulates my thought a whole lot better than my verbal does at the moment. First, let's start off with the mood for episode 11, how it ends, and then we'll go into episode 12, the finale. So what I've written is episode 11 ended with someone getting shot between the male lead and the real Saturni. I suspected the male lead was shot as he was stunned by what he learned from the real Saturni. And the last scene showed Hiju in a disheveled state after the male lead disappeared. The mood for that ending was very heartbreaking, especially as the look on the male lead's face. I just knew it was something that utterly shattered his world. And to be fair, I knew it had something to do with the car accident Hiju was in with her siblings when she was younger, as it was the last plot point that needed to be cleared up, aka who caused the accident. This became the main thing that pushed the male lead away from Hiju in his attempt to repent for his father, the grandfather's sins. With the whole concept of the mask, it was only right the male lead would eventually vacate the place he was given to fill, and when he returns, it will be as his authentic self. As I was rewatching the last clip of episode 11, there was something that I didn't realize had occurred, and I felt it was very smart of the writers to do. When Hiju picks up the international call, it is inferred that it's her husband. This brought everything right back to the title When the Phone Rings, and how that leaves a distinct impact on the main leads. I thought that scene was beautifully done. The phone throughout the drama has brought the couple closer together and was the main sincere thing between them, showing their need to communicate, connect, and reveal their truth. And as seen by his end being silent and Hiju saying, "Is that you?" just further showed no matter the conflicts that surrounded them from their childhood till now, they have this deep longing desire to be together. Episode 11 left me knowing that in the finale, the writers would then reveal what Saturni told the male lead, especially as the male lead has already essentially revealed his mask, being the position that his family put him in. It's only right that the next episode would show him disappearing, as well as when he would return, it would be as his authentic self. Now imagine to my surprise, when episode 12 didn't continue to build on I'd like to say the dynamics between the male lead and the female lead, and just ramping up the emotions, showing both of their perspectives to make it a lot more compelling, so then we can know by the time they reveal that it was actually the grandfather who set the accident for Hiju and her siblings, that it would feel a lot more impactful. But instead, they really just showed life after Saturni was killed, and therefore the mask that the male lead had to wear being stripped away. So Saturni actually disappeared, but the male lead would come back, of course. I feel like they could have showed more of Saturni. Why am I saying it like that? I feel like they could have more shown the male lead's disappearance in a way of what they did do. Let's focus on that. Is they showed Hiju's world without him, as well as her friends, her family, and those who knew him, the media especially, what that world looks like now without Saturni and the male lead to be a part of it. For Hiju, she completely broke down in a way that I might be heartless in saying this, but it just felt so pitiful and pathetic, especially as she said the words that she can't live without him. With all of that, it just seemed like she could have done something more. Because she did have her character build up with the phone, her being 406. She showed a different side of her that held more strength. But yet she completely just broke down. But I did like how they were reminiscing, she and the male lead's former colleague. But he was basically saying how the male lead was asking him for advice on how to be a better husband, essentially. And that really connected with her because it showed a side that she didn't actually see prior, which was him learning how to be more for her rather than the cold atmosphere that they had initially, where they both hid their feelings. Now, with this distance between the male lead and the female lead, the writers needed something to bring them back together. And this is the absurd moment, because I'm just like, you could have done it so much better. It just really, it's like they chose the worst thing to actually utilize to now bring the two couples back together after they've gone through their whole character arc, their journey, which has transformed them in a way that makes them so much more better together. And I was on My Dramas list and I was reading a few of the comments, and there was something that I didn't know because I haven't read the original body of work. I think they call it a manhwa, but it's like a novel. And somebody was saying how in the original novel they had the war scene, which is an absurd moment for me. And they were basically saying how they could have taken it out. And I absolutely agree with that. Because a lot of the times adaptations work different to how novels do. And if something is just not working for screen, it's better to just scrap it and build something new. But I'm not sure about how the contract was between the writer and the producers and the on-screen writers and all of this stuff. The ending just felt rushed because they spent so much time on the absurd moment, putting Hee-ju in a desperate position where she's now being a damsel in distress. She's being pathetic, pitiful, and it's like she's just lost her mind once again. It's like she doesn't have a life outside of her husband, which is crazy because when she was being a sign language interpreter, she managed to succeed in getting a role in the presidential office, and that was supposed to be the start of her finding her individuality, her building her own life outside of her husband in a more fulfilling and impactful way for her character journey. But yet the writers completely spun that out of this world. They completely just disregarded that. I didn't even clock that until now, but that would have been perfect for her to fully just establish her self-esteem, her work ethic, just who she is outside of him. But yet they just abandoned that whole arc, that journey for her when she yet again got kidnapped, but this time it was from Satwani's mum, and then she just came back into more of a vulnerable state. But I just didn't like how they disregarded her attempts for independence and who she would be now that she actually put in the work to become something that would have freed her from her mum and there's other people who felt that they could control her. So yeah, my absurd moment was the war scene, Hee-ju putting herself in danger in a very ridiculous manner, which then meant that the male lead would swoop in, save the day, be the knight in shining armor and essentially just save his bride, and then pour out his emotions, how he was just holding everything in, his desire to be with her, his desire to just start life all over again in the way that he wants it to. But he was holding back because he needed to repent for his his father's sins. That scene where they both came together and they were pouring out their heart was very impactful. It was very compelling. It was definitely needed after their distance, but it's just how they got there. Nah. They could have done something so much better. And I wrote down in my notes actually, his whole disappearance could have been told a lot more impactful, where we see the inner workings of his mind. We do in some way from him making a donation to a school for the children to learn sign language, donating his assets to society, and just being more of a humanist. But we didn't get to connect, which was my main problem. We didn't get to connect with how his world now just crumbled after hearing what Saotoni told him. We saw his face at the end of episode 11, but we didn't get to feel it and completely understand how that triggered him to disappear, not say nothing to his wife, and just go to this war place. Go to this war place and do what? I didn't completely understand that. What was he doing over there? But what I did like, I feel like the main thing that was very good with that whole absurd stretch of scenes was the sunset. It showed a different side of him that we hadn't seen prior, and would eventually just connect him and Hiju back together. And the sunset kind of just showed the calm after the storm. Ooh, yeah. It showed how he was now going to have brighter days. Everything that he went through was all for a reason, and now, moving on from this point, he would be able to be free. I like what they did with that, actually. Yeah. I get the writers wanted to hide and prolong the last reveal moment for the viewers to recognize that it was the male lead's grandfather who set up the accident that Hiju was a part of, because Saotoni was seen by her brother. But I just wanted them to execute how they got there. I feel like they wasted so much screen time with just boring scenes that just wasn't hitting. And if anything, if I was reading this as a novel, it would have just put me off and I would have skipped it just to get to the end. I liked that the male lead disappeared. It was a rightful move, as he was no longer held captive as a placeholder, and the original Saotoni, his nephew, was dead. Therefore, when he does return, it will be as his authentic self, free from his mask. Overall, I feel like the last 20 minutes of this drama was the best. That's the only redeeming quality that they had. And it was when the couple had reconciled. They had a gathering with their friends and showed the aftermath of the threats, which caused the upheaval turn of events to where they are now. As for the final ending, I did think it was beautiful and it was like a wonderful ending. The male lead refers to 406 and missing that person who the female lead was. And for me, who she was who she actually was. She was being her authentic self when she was playing as 406. I would agree that the male lead found her a lot more attractive, because now she went from being the nice girl to the good girl. Just reveals, rather than just masks everything and makes it seem like, oh, it's all okay, when actually it's not. It just makes it a whole lot easier for him to connect with her too, because now he's getting the real and he can move out from under his mask and be real with her too. So he even said he liked her chilling persona, how she made demands and told him what she didn't like. This goes back to my nice girl theory around her character. She became a good girl the moment she became 406 and made him know what was really going on with her. This scene solidified the change in their relationship dynamic as well as who they've grown to become. Male lead without his mask being who he desires to be, and the female lead living the life she wants with the man she loves. I like it when my wife doesn't hold back. Yeah. My final thoughts. The finale, I'd rate it a 6.5, maybe 7. The title, I've loved it since I became aware of it. As for you guys, what do you think? Am I being dramatic and it wasn't as absurd as I'm making it out to be? Did you love the finale? What do you think worked? What didn't? I do have to give it up to the actors though. The male lead, yeah. Yeah, he did his thing for real. The female lead, I haven't really watched her dramas like that. I do know of I Am Not a Robot, but I haven't fully invested myself in her dramas. I'm more in favour of the male lead. It was nice to see him in the main character role. He really did execute on his part. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. I will be reviewing other K-dramas and just things of interest to me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching.